The views on this program do not reflect those of ONTV or its board of directors. Welcome to OAA Now, your home for Oakland Activities Association news and information. Here's your host, Sammy Taormina.
Welcome to OAA Now. Here I'm Sammy Taormina, blogger, the Dragons Insider, blogger of Inside the OAA, and one of the hosts is Between Timmins and Orion Neighborhood Television. I'd like to welcome those watching us on the live stream, and also hearing us on the local voice on SoundCloud, and also watching us on Orion Neighborhood Television.
What else can we add to this thing? I need at least 4 more arms over here.
Yes, you do, Ian. Yes, you do. Especially with last week. You know.
Oh, man. Yeah, and I found out that the problem was just some easy little fix. Of course, we had some. We're adding, as you know, if you're listening, we've added a lot of little things to the podcast to enhance it, to try to get it out there live, right, Sammy? And here we are on a Monday, and
it's a beautiful day out.
So far, we had a couple hiccups, but we're on. It is 10 o'clock. It's Monday. It's a beautiful day. The tornadoes are gone.
Yes, and I know there's a lot of power outages, especially west of Waterford. I know that.
Yeah.
We had another tornado hit Port Austin.
Yeah,
we had
2 of them this year.
Yeah, I know. I was there for one of them. And then we had one in White Lake.
Yep.
And then we had one, of course, in Armada, and then we had one in Gaines Township, which was in Genesee County.
There was one up there?
There was one up there, yes.
Wow. Yeah, because I know we were in the basement for a while. You know, the sirens went off and phones light up, you know.
One thing that I always learned.
Crazy.
You know what? One thing I learned, Ian, is respect the polygon.
Respect the polygon.
Respect the polygon.
Which
meteorologists, they always do that.
Oh, yes.
Respect the polygon.
I'm so glad you brought that up.
Mm-hmm. You know, sometimes sirens can't be trusted, though.
Correct.
You know what I mean? And
correct.
You know, this is where I think the sirens are still county based, but you know, like if it's like a polygon based, you know, I think that would be.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, I've heard that term for the first time when we had, you know, several weeks ago when we had the other tornadic possibilities, and just a public service, if the weather looks kind of sketchy or you get an alert, don't go outside to check it out.
No.
Just follow the rules and listen and head to your basement or do whatever you say.
I was just surprised all the rain we got.
Yes, it was a truckload of rain. But the polygon is like you see the weather guy going, see this shape here? And he actually, if you go to like 247 or the major weather guys.
Or for me, like RTV5, ABC 12, NBC 25, you know what I mean?
You get them out of Flint.
Yep.
And they actually show you the spacing of which the technology's insane. What they have.
Oh, and they do it at the National Weather Service up in Detroit Pontiac up at White Lake.
Yeah.
That's where the weather service is.
Drive by that radar all the time.
Yeah. And then you got also in Grand Rapids and Gaylord, also in Marquette.
Well, if, you know.
And Northern Indiana.
Yes. And where the National Weather Service is over there is also a state campground.
Really?
Right? Pontiac State
Recreation here?
Right. And then they have that campground. I just hope everybody seemed to be okay, but there were trees down everywhere. They couldn't get the campers out. There's no electricity, no water, so they're basically going to shut down until mid-August.
I know there was one injury. I know that.
Was there?
Yeah, there was one injury there.
Yeah, but people out there camping just down from where this thing was rolling through, so
wow. I talked to the people up in Port Austin, you know, the owners at the tip of the Mitt Golf Course, the putt course there.
Played there?
Yeah, I played there. I ended up getting a toilet bowl there.
I think that's an inside thing.
They saw the Port Austin tornado come from the bay, from Saginaw Bay, and it went into a lot of farmland. So that's why.
So the most recent one.
Most recent one up in Port Austin, yeah. So that's why, you know, I that's probably the reason why that.
Did you go Port Austin? That's 2 in 1 year.
It's 2 in 1 year.
Almost in the same spot. And
almost,
that is.
That's insane.
Very, very rare.
Especially because, you know, how rare it is for the tornado to basically form in Port Austin.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
mean, you can get monster storms off the bay.
Yes.
But yeah, for tornadoes,
it's really rare.
Pretty crazy.
We do got a guest coming up in about a half hour. We're going to talk to Troy Athens football coach Billy Keenist. After we went off the air last week, the MHA released the basketball
Not
districts.
only off the air, Sammy, but it's like 5 seconds after we went off the air.
5 seconds after we
actually ended the telecast and the recording, and Sammy's like, it came in, oh my goodness.
It just came in, and like all of a sudden I'm looking at the districts, and...
So here's this.
I did some... Breaking news! I did analyze these basketball districts coming out. Of course, very early, both boys and girls basketball released their districts. Really interesting districts. I mean, like some of them.
There's also a new one.
There is a new one. If you're a fan of, if you're Jeff Cozen right now, you're in a. I don't know what you're thinking right now if you're Jeff Cozen. But if you're, you're, I mean, especially with the district that they got. But if you are Steve Laidlaw, Rachel Breyer right now, you might want to get a modified version of the Scream how your district's set up.
Yeah, it's
brutal.
Yeah.
And then you look at a district with Lake Orion. Of course, the Dragons do host the girls' district, but they have to go to Romeo for the boys' side, and then Ferndale likely dealing with Detroit Country Day, and then you look at North Farmington. They're in two different districts. I mean, like you have probably one of the toughest districts around when you look at, obviously, in the boys' side at West Bloomfield, you have two Catholic League teams there. And then in the girls' side, you have, I think the best districts right now are at West Bloomfield. I mean, both boys and girls, because you got some really good competition there. On the boys' side, obviously, you're looking at Orchard Lake, St. Mary's, Birmingham, Brother Rice, West Bloomfield, Bloomfield Hills are all in one district.
Wow.
And then on the girls' side, you got West Bloomfield and Birmingham Marion in the other district. And, of course, you have Groves in there, Seaholmes in there. You got Bloomfield Hills in there. Yeah. But when I look at those districts, and North Farmington's in there on the girls' side. So, to me, those two districts are the best districts.
You mean best districts for competition-wise?
Competition-wise.
Yeah.
That's the toughest teams that are in there.
Yeah.
Berkeley still got stuck with Detroit Renaissance. They're going down there. I mean, like, they're going down there for girls. The boys at Royal Oak. And then you look at Harper Woods, the newest member of the league.
Yes.
It's going to have to deal with Harper with Chandler Park Academy. Other than that, I'm not sold on that district down there with Detroit Osborne, Detroit Denby. So I'm very curious to see with that one. But I think when you look at districts that are just absolutely brutal, and how do you explain that? And I went to Chicago Brothers Pizza in Lake Orion. I know the owner very well. He is I know his son is at Oxford.
Okay.
So
you get a man on the street reaction to this.
Yes.
Okay.
So I went. He was there, and I had to tell him the basketball district, and you know what his reaction was?
What?
Yeah.
Yeah. What?
Here, the boys basketball district.
Well, how much of it has it changed? I mean, so you
Sure,
laid it out. You got your competitive ones that seem super heavy, top heavy, or they're going to fling one team out to, the nether areas of the state or the county or whatever. But how have they changed from last year?
You know what?
Is it pretty much the same so they can
No, it's actually not, because you've had some schools that have gone down from Class A to Class B.
Okay.
Because they do it based on classes, but
Yeah.
Division I, Division II.
Yeah.
But, so it changes variably. It changes.
Okay, so it's not like, I mean, there's always changes. We know there's some shifting.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, would you say last year to this year, it's roughly the same?
It's not necessarily the same.
Because they added a new district.
Right. They brought a new district in, obviously, the one at Waterford Kettering and Waterford Mott. That is absolutely gold. If you are Jeff Cozen.
So I don't want. I want to dissect that district.
Oh yeah.
But first, I don't want to steal your thunder on.
Let's go to Davison,
which we're talking about.
That's the district at Davison.
Yeah.
So if you're Oxford, and you just find out, especially your boys, you have the defending Division I state champions in there. You have and then you have a program that's bringing a new coach who won 3 state titles at Flint Beecher. And they got a young team, young nucleus loaded. And then you have a team that's really improved in Lapeer, that, won 8 games last year. So So when you look at Oxford, I know you got a good team. You got Logan Brzezinski, you got Bryce Hessman, you got Alec Brown. I know you got a freshman coming up that's really good. But if you're Coach Steve Laidlaw, you just gotta go like this.
You're rubbing your head.
Yeah.
Rubbing your eyes.
Because, and then you look at Grand Blanc, who returns Ty Rogers, R.J. Taylor. Now, R.J. Taylor's story, of course, is I'm not a huge fan of. Because, I know that he's from Midland. You know what I mean? He's from Midland, and I know he has to, and Grand Blanc is an open enrolled school. You know what I mean? So
you're saying transfer?
Yeah, close.
Okay.
But that's for another day.
Okay.
But when you look,
you're saying that, I mean, Oxford's being thrown to the wolves.
Yes, that's how I'm feeling. So I just feel so bad for Steve in this team.
Yeah.
I mean, they are suffering the same fate that Coach Rachel Breyer had last year with the girls team, because the girls had to go to Genesee County last year.
Yes.
So at least if you're Coach Breyer, you had this experience of going to Genesee County. You know how good Grand Blanc and Davison are.
Yeah.
And then you had Flint Kearsley in there, which normally they're a good team, but last year they didn't play because of COVID-19 protocols.
Mm.
So
all year.
Well, they can play postseason.
Ah, yeah, okay.
So when you look at the Oxford situation, how do you explain this to your kids? How do you explain this?
But we've seen this time and again, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the shuffling of the teams around, and we've seen it in heck, we've seen it in cross country. We've seen it teams like just be all of a sudden you're going to have this mega district or regional or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many teams that are of quality. They're like, you're out, you're done, you're toast, because you're going up against state powers every year.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so what do you do? I mean, you just go, okay, well, obviously you have to take it. There's nothing else you can do.
Right.
But it just, I'm not going to say that, the OAA is not being picked on.
No.
Are they?
Maybe. I don't know.
It's just, especially certain teams that we always watch and we follow and we're rooting for, and you want them to do well, and then you go, oh man, that is brutal draw
for Oxford. That is really brutal. Now let's go to a team that's been you said this is the one you wanted to cover, and that is the districts at Waterford, Kettering, and Waterford.
Brand new. What is the number?
Brand new.
You got a number on it? District, whatever.
I think District 6. I think it's what
new.
It is.
Okay.
Yes.
So the funny,
of course, Lake Orion got sent east.
Okay.
And then Clarkston was the team I want to talk about.
Yes. So we wrap up the show last week. Literally, I'm fading down, hitting stop on the recordings, and Sammy goes, oh, they're in. He goes, oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
And he goes, what? We'll talk about it next week. And then my wife teaches in Clarkston.
Yes.
And she hit me up right away because she knew that your reaction would be. She goes, did you see there's a new district?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at it going, oh, my goodness. And then you gave me the details. And how is this district stacked? Just give me the teams first.
You got Clarkston, Bolt Waterford, Kettering and Waterford, Kettering, Waterford,
yeah,
Pontiac, and Avondale.
Yes. Is that
and Pontiac?
Yes, you already said Pontiac.
Oh, I did say Pontiac.
Yeah, yeah.
Clarkson, Pontiac, Bolt Waterfords, and Avondale.
My hands are in the air.
Yeah.
Is this the first thing I thought of? I know we still got to play the games. I said it's a gift.
This is a Christmas gift for
with a bow,
and
the turkey dinner and the trimmings.
Yes, and I'm going like, what?
I mean, for OAA
Nation,
it's a good deal.
It's a good deal. It's a good deal for OAA Nation with Clarkston's district. I mean, but when you look at, come on,
you compare Oxford.
Oxford got a death sentence.
They're sitting, and then you go, we're going to make a new one.
You got to make a new one and put Clarkston in there. I'm going like, oh my god. Now, if there was a team, in my opinion, that should have went up to the death up north. Clarkson's a little more closer to Grand Blanc than Oxford is.
It is. It's on that side.
Yeah, it's on that side. So when I look at that district, I mean, like, I'm going like,
you're right.
I'm going like, come on. I mean, you guys sentence Oxford, and you're putting you sentence them. I mean, like, but the team that should have been sentenced, in my opinion, was Clarkston. But instead, they got a gift for that district.
Oh, completely. And if you actually draw a line between, I mean, Waterford is right next door. It's just down the street. Right?
Down the street.
You get those two. Pontiac's right there as well.
Pontiac's right there as well. So Auburn Hills, Avondale's right there as well.
It's right there. It's just on the other side, east side Pontiac.
Yep.
So you got, I mean, no travel. They could ride their bikes there.
Of course. But it's at Waterford Kettering and Waterford Mott, so.
But, I mean, anything can happen, but it was like, wow, that is a.
And I did some studying in that district. I did some studying a little bit. I mean, Waterford Mott probably has the best chance to.
You think
Clarkston,
it's set that
but
those two
I
will
think
meet
it's already stacked in the bag.
Yeah.
I mean, like, and then you look at on the maybe Pontiac's a dark horse. I mean, like in the boys' side. On the girls' side, you got.
They walk to the finals?
Yes. Well, maybe Waterford Kettering if Markea Holland does what she did and gets some help. I mean, last year, Markea Holland scored 37 points last year against Clarkston.
Yeah.
But when I look at this district, I just what Clarkston's got. I mean, like you look at Maddie Sikorsky, you got Izzy Haley, Ava Hernandez. I mean, like they got. I mean, like Emerson. I mean, this team is really going to be talented for Coach Aaron Goodnow, who's walking into a really beautiful situation. When you look at this district, and I'm looking at Avondale, I can't trust Avondale. I really can't. Pontiac didn't even field a team last year.
Yeah.
Waterford Mott.
How is that going to impact them? Yeah.
Waterford Mott was just horrendous last year. They weren't even competitive
on the men's side,
the girls' side. And then Waterford Kettering. Waterford Kettering, we know they have Markea Holland, but who else? So when you look at the situation how it's unfolded, I mean, like, come on.
I know.
I mean, like you look at all the other districts. He's like West Bloomfield.
There's at least a pairing of you have a power and maybe another power.
And West Bloomfield, Birmingham, Marion.
They try to set it up where a traditional power they come together and maybe that's.
And then you look at that Lake Orion district with the three Rochesters, Romeo and Utica Eisenhower. I mean, like on the girls' side, you got Lake Orion, Stony Creek right now. Your two early favorites, and then you have Adams, a possible wild card. And then you look at on the boys' side, Adams is the favorite, but it's gonna be very competitive in the boys' side.
Yeah.
So that District 5 is really interesting.
And the good thing is just announcing that the district is at Lake Orion.
The girls is.
Yeah.
The boys at Romeo.
The girls are at Lake Orion. That means those will be televised.
Mm-hmm. The boys at Romeo.
So you can tune in and see all those when they come. I know we're a long way away.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and so they're at Romeo. And Romeo is, man, that is always tough.
Yeah, Romeo's a tough gym. It's a tough gym to be at.
Always.
I mean, like, but
we've seen volleyball.
They changed it. They changed the gym now. They moved.
They did?
Yeah, they moved. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to try to goad you into screaming about the setup of the volleyball in Romeo.
Oh, yeah. That at the old gym. Oh God.
I know that drives you crazy.
Oh, it does.
They have it oriented like reversed.
But you know what district I'm keeping a very close eye on is the one down at Troy.
Okay.
You got District 29. You got Troy Athens. I mean, like you have Warren De La Salle on the boys' side, Warren Cousineau, Warren Mott, Warren Woods Tower. Now, Warren Mott's not on the girls' side, but you have Troy Athens, Warren Cousineau, and Warren Woods Tower. It's a 4-teamer.
Yeah, wow.
So I'm going to go boys first. It's going to be tough for Coach Gary Freilich and his team. But, it'd be very interesting to see how they would do against Warren De La Salle in that one. The girls' one, I have a little bit more. This has been with Troy. This has been a team that has been in the postseason, had been in the whether it's been the first round game or the district semifinals. Lost all three of them. This is to me, and this is their last. I mean, it's basically now or never for this group.
Really?
Because I've heard all the hype that they had all year. I've heard all the hype. And, that this is going to be a very good Troy team, it's now or never for this team.
Yeah.
You got Athens, Warren, Coos, they're going to be really good teams this year. They're going to be good. And they're going to be tough. I think all the pressure in the world is on Troy. Because it's now or never.
Loaded with seniors.
Yes. Yeah, Kendall Zider, Shara Tabaka.
Yeah.
I know
all the names we know.
I know Lissa Mantooth is out for the year.
Oh, no.
With an ACL. But for me, it's now or never with Troy.
Does that change the scope of your your expectation then?
No.
Even with one of the top players out?
No, doesn't.
You are tough.
Yes, I am. In the boys' side, in the Ferndale district, I just don't think anybody can knock off Ferndale. The Detroit Renaissance district with Berkeley, Royal Oak, and I just don't see anybody knocking off Detroit Renaissance. In the girls' side, even though Berkeley's got a good player in Ashley Loon, Royal Oak, their defense first team. And then the boys' side, you got UD Jesuit, you got Detroit Renaissance, Oak Park's the wild card, and then on the flip side, we got Ferndale, Detroit Country Day. That should be the battle on both. Ferndale University could get problems there on that one, and then we have Harper Woods. Chandler Park Academy has to be the favorite in both boys and girls. So,
see, and that's the new wrinkle.
Yes, that is a new wrinkle,
right? And it's interesting. So you bring up Harper Woods, and I don't want to derail the discussion of the districts, but it's interesting the reaction to Harper Woods in football.
They're very good this year.
They are, but from the two OAA coaches we've chatted with over the last couple of weeks, their reaction.
Well, I can get a third one.
Well, I know, and I'm interested in just that question has to be brought up again.
Yes, we'll bring it up
because I was surprised at some of the reactions. Some are like, "Oh, wow, I didn't even know," or "I will reserve comment till later." So
we have media data answers.
I know that's true, and that's coming up soon.
Yes.
And you'll be there. ONTV cameras will be there,
Yep.
and we'll be prepping the preview shows and the OAA Now prediction shows and all that good stuff. So, but yeah, it's interesting to see. I would like to know the basketball coach's reaction to having them in.
I will do that. I will do what I can to do that
because that would be fascinating to hear ahead of the schedule. I know. We haven't even started football yet, and we're already talking basketball winter schedules.
Yeah, so
crazy.
We'll see what happens going forward. Let's take a commercial break. I mean, like, obviously, we haven't done those.
We haven't really done a break because we've had some discussions that have been going, and the interviews have been great, and we are still trying to grab a coach. Our interview today, Billy Keenist, and so we're going to step away real quick as Sammy dials him up and see what we can do. All right, you're listening to OAA Now
on
ONTV.
This is the local voice, where you can listen to your favorite classic rock songs, as well as podcasts created by ONTV and its volunteers. If you're looking for a high school sports update show, we have OAA Now. If you want to hear about some great movies, we have Movies for Dumb Guys. You can also create your own podcast by taking a course with us. For more information, call 248-393-1060.
Coach, you there? Welcome back to OAA Now.
Yeah,
here.
We're trying to get Coach on the line.
Yep. Coach, you there? Can you hear me? Hey, Coach, I can hear you.
I got to fiddle with some stuff.
You got to fiddle with some stuff here. How's everything been going for you?
Great. How are you?
I'm good. I mean, like, I'm good. We got you here. I can hear you now very well, and we got a lot to talk to you with this year. I mean, with Troy Athens. So, how's everything been for you?
A lot better than last year. Last year was a pain in the neck with all the COVID stuff, and this is just a little bit smoother and a little bit better operation. So we're doing much better.
Talk about the Red Hawks. I mean, of course, how's the off season been for you guys? I mean, like, obviously, when you look at Troy Athens, I'm very high on you guys this year. I mean, like, I think that you turn a very good quarterback in Nate Hazen. You have a very good receiver in Trey Vincent. Talk about how the off season's been for you guys.
It's been good. We got a good group of seniors. Trey has been a 2-year starter for us on the varsity. He's a great kid, great player. We're looking for big things out of him. We're going to have Evan Bibber as our starting quarterback.
Evan Bibber? Okay.
Yeah. Nate's he graduated, so he's going to Grand Valley. Great kid. Nate did some good things for us, but Evan's going to be our starter. Evan has been a 2-year varsity player for us. He's played receiver, safety, DB, linebacker. Evan's done everything for us, and Evan Bibber is everything you want in a high school football player. He gives you everything he's got, so we're looking for big things for Evan. And, the rest of our seniors, there's not many of them. We don't have a big senior class, but I wouldn't trade them for the world. They're great kids, and they work very hard, so we're looking forward to the season.
Talk about, of course, last season with everybody making the playoffs. Of course, you guys ran to Southfield A&T last year. Obviously, that playoff experience. How has that been very important for you guys?
Well, I don't know about that playoff experience, but last year's experience for us was a great learning lesson because in the regular season we were 2-3, and in all 3 losses we had the lead in the second half and we lost the game. So it just kind of showed us that you have to finish everything you do. So our word this year is finish. And, we won 2 games regular season, and if we would have finished games, we could have won 5-0. But those games don't count. They're losses, and they stung a little bit last year because we played pretty well, but we didn't finish games, and we lost 3 games that we had the lead in the second half, and those kind of stay with you, and those kind of piss you off, but they make you go a little bit harder, I think, and we're going to learn from those, and we're going to finish games this year.
Talk about, of course, you guys lose a huge player in Wade Ashman. Of course, he was a very good running back for you guys last year. Talk about what Wade's did for you guys last year.
Yeah, Wade Ashman was kind of the bell cow of Athens football for the past 3 years. He was on varsity as a sophomore, and we brought him up and kind of just figured we'd get him some reps here and there, and then by the middle of the season, he was our go-to tailback. So, he's going to go play football at Adrian College, which is kind of cool for me because that's where I played. So I'm very, very happy for him and proud of Wadis. Wadis has grown a lot as a young man, and he was a good player for us. He did some really nice things, but we're looking to get some other guys to fill his shoes. And, I'm confident in the guys we got, and I'm proud of Wadis for all he's done.
How's the program strength doing over there? Of course, I know a lot of people look at Troy Athens and say, well, they're a big school, but, you had the issue with numbers over there. Talk about that issue.
Yeah, like everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, kind of like we just said, like everybody. Our numbers aren't where they need to be. That's a constant struggle for us. But, we just sat down as a coaching staff and kind of looked at our roster, and we're going to be okay. We're going to have high 20s, low 30s on the varsity, and that's kind of where we've been the last couple of years. And, we're going to do the best with what we got. Would I like to have 55, 60 kids in the varsity? Hell yeah, I would, but we don't have that right now. So we got to keep building it. We got to keep winning games. I think winning helps the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm confident we can do that.
Of course, talk about, speaking of that, of course, the blue division, you guys were in that division this year. Obviously playing 8 games in the in the league game schedule, but one non-conference. Have you thought about your non-conference? I've seen in your schedule that you haven't had a week 8 game yet.
No, we're still working on that. We haven't filled that yet. We had a couple teams that didn't work out for us, but we're still working on that. But the blue division, like I've said over the years, I think I've talked to you or talked to other people. I don't care if you're in the red, if you're in the white, if you're in the blue, if you're in the MAC, if you're in the whatever division. There's good teams everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't care what division of football you're in. You got to play good teams. There's no cakewalks. There's no easy games. If you don't come to play and if you don't show up ready to go, you're going to get your ass kicked. And that's just how it is in high school sports. We're all high school kids. We're all 15, 16, 17 years old. And if you don't show up ready to go, you can lose. Now, the flip side of that is if you show up, you have a great attitude, and if you work really hard and do the right things, you can win any game you play. Yeah. So it's just about the kids buying in and believing and The Blue Division, I think, is going to be very good this year. I think there's really good teams this year in it, and we're looking forward to competing in it.
Let's talk about your rivalry with Troy. I mean, the last 3 years has been 103-0 the last 3 years. Talk about that rivalry with Troy. I mean, how does that impact the community of Troy?
Yeah, we've been very fortunate the last 3 years to come out on the top end of that. Coach Frazier does a very good job over there. I have a lot of respect for him. I think when I was growing up, I had a rivalry with different schools, but we didn't grow up with those kids.
Right.
I didn't grow up with these kids like the kids in Troy do. Like these kids that play in the Troy Athens Troy High rivalry, they know each other. They went to elementary school together. They went to middle school together. They played Little League baseball together. So it's just that much more heated when they play as seniors on Friday night. I think we've just been very fortunate to play very well in those games the past 3 years, and our kids take a lot of pride in that game. So we're hoping for more success this year.
You guys battle for a trophy or anything?
What's that?
Do you guys battle for a trophy or anything?
We do not have a trophy. I've done a little research, and I do believe there was a trophy that was passed around many years ago, and we might try to bring that back in the years to come.
I think the rivalry would be very good with the trophy. I really do. Isn't it, Killian?
I know you like Sammy. I know you like the hardware.
Yes, I do.
Along with the helmets. I know that's a big that's a big
well, at least
check in your box.
With Athens, they got the uniform.
They
right.
do.
They got it right now.
It's solid.
Yes.
I'm glad you like our uniform, Sammy. That was the biggest thing on the list whenever we were picking your uniforms. I said, "Is Sammy gonna like these uniforms?"
The only issue I have with the helmets, I wish you could put like a sort of like a Philadelphia Eagles thing on there.
No.
See?
Sorry, we're keeping the A.
Come on.
See, I agree with Coach. Yes, come on, Sammy. That's been done. Keep the A. Keep the A.
Okay. I do want to get your thoughts on this, Coach Keenist. Of course, Ian and I were talking before we went on break. Your thoughts on Harper Woods joining?
Yeah.
During the league, I want your opinion, your thoughts on this. I talked to Coach Jim Dewald last week on his feelings of Harper Woods. They're going to be in the league for football next year, so. Not this season, but next year. So talk about your thoughts on Harper Woods joining the league.
To be honest with you, Sammy, I haven't given a lot of thought to it. I think the OAA is a great league. I think it's a very, very, very competitive league. I think the bottom, we got great teams. I think in all sports, it's competitive. I think in basketball and football and baseball and volleyball, whatever it is, I think we have great teams. So I think anybody that comes in is gonna have a great athletic experience. And to be honest with you, I haven't spent a lot of time thinking about Harper Woods. I kind of just focus on Troy Athens. But I think the OAA is a great conference, and I think anybody that joins is gonna enjoy their experience.
Also, let's talk about your other rivalries besides Troy. I mean, like you got a rivalry with Berkeley brewing, of course. Berkeley, when you look at Berkeley, last season you guys had that tough loss. Talk about that rivalry. Of course, you were at Berkeley as a head coach there for a season before I'm going to Troy Athens. So talk about that matchup with Berkeley.
Yeah, I love Berkeley. I always pull for them, except for when we play for them, and that was a tough loss for us. Another one where we had the lead and lost it, and those kids played hard. And Berkeley does some nice things over there, and I really, really enjoyed my time there. There's amazing people at Berkeley. There's, outstanding kids there. They got a really cool stadium that I'm looking forward to go back and play. Yeah, I love Hurley Field, so I'm looking forward to playing there this year. And Berkeley's great stuff. I pull for the Bears all the time, except for when they play Athens.
Also, talk about your time at Oxford. Of course, you went with Coach Bud Riley, so the Pound the Rock scheme. How is everything looking for any offensive, defensive schemes? I know you took several of Coach Riley's staff with you to Athens. Talk about the connection with Bud.
Yeah, I mean, I was very fortunate. When I was in high school, I played for, in my opinion, the best coach in the state of Michigan, and Bud Raleigh. And I was very fortunate enough after college to go back and coach for him for 3 years. And that was quite an experience. And then 2 years ago, I hired Dave Brown and Derek Osborne, who were longtime assistants with Coach Raleigh up there. And they've come to Athens, and they're doing a phenomenal job. And, I think it's just, kind of the way it works. When you're around something and when you're around somebody, you're going to take pieces from them. And, I played for Bud and I coached for him, and he's my mentor, and he's a person that I respect a lot, and him and I have a very close relationship. So I do some of the things that he did. I kind of put my own twist on some things at times, but, there is a certain, I will say, Bud Raleigh effect on the staff down here at Athens. Some people might say that's a bad thing, but I think it's a great thing. So,
of course, you have the you still do the Pound the Rock at Athens?
No, we haven't really adopted Pound the Rock. We like to Pound the Rock, but we haven't adopted that mantra down here yet.
Any questions for you, Ian?
Yeah, real quick one. It's I don't know if it's a real quick one, but it's something that we've been reflecting on. Last year was just an oddball season. I mean, are we going to play? Are we not going to play? We finally get to play, and then it's pausing, starting, stopping, all the rules, testing. I mean, you lived it more so than Sammy and I. Did any of that experience that you went through with the kids and the program during that pandemic, did that bring you guys closer together? Did it bring the community together as far as supporting and trying to make sure that everybody's on the same page? And how do you, take anything from last year and call it a positive moving into this year?
I would say, last year, it really kind of showed everybody the biggest thing is how to be flexible and how to be understanding. I would say the parents of my program last year were simply amazing because everything changed all the time.
Yeah.
And, I would send emails or text messages or updates almost daily about, we got to wear a mask, or I bought face shields for the helmets, or your kid owes me $20 for this, or
yeah,
we're shutting down for a month, or we're coming back. Like, I was just very thankful and proud of our parents just to adapt and change on the fly. There was not one crossword with a parent. There was not one issue. It was just outstanding where, the community and the parents kind of just said, we want our kids to have a good season, and they did anything they could to help. And then I would say the one lesson that I would say our coaching staff learned from last year is to prepare for everything. Going from, COVID testing to players having to miss because their brother had COVID to, losing games in the fourth quarter when you were leading the entire game to, just crazy things that happened last year. I would say our coaching staff has just realized, plan for everything. Don't be surprised by anything. 2020 was a tough year, but it was a year that I think everybody grew and got better at for it. So,
obviously, when you look at coming up in the 2021, obviously, when you look at any other players that we like to you want to give headways to me and Ian this season? Any other players that you want to
be watching out for?
Be watching out for?
Yeah. I got a couple, like I said, Evan Bibber, he's a senior. He's going to play safety and quarterback. Trey Vincent, he's a senior. He's going to play linebacker, running back, receiver. Brett Jansen is a senior. He's going to play offense and defensive line. Ben Nast is a senior captain. He's going to play linebacker and fullback. And then we got a couple of guys that are kind of coming into their own. Andre Shelton, he was a two-way starter last year for us. We're looking for big things out of Andre. Dominic Carroll, he's a senior. He's had some injuries that have plagued him in the past, but he's really had a tremendous offseason. So we're looking for big things out of him. So really, we're going to go as far as our seniors take us. And I really like the kids we got. And I think our seniors are determined to kind of put those tough losses behind them and finish everything this year and have a great 2021 season.
Awesome. It'd be very interesting to see what happens with you guys this season, of course, in the Blue Division. We talked, obviously we talked Troy, we talked Berkeley, Bloomfield Hills. You guys played them last year. Talk about that matchup, Lubin, with the Blackhawks. Got Ferndale in that division as well. I mean, talk about the those two teams in particular, Bloomfield Hills and Ferndale.
Yeah, both those games. I'm really happy you brought those up, Sammy. Those are both games that keep me up at night and just drive me nuts. So thanks a lot for putting those up.
I had to do what I had to do.
Come on, Sammy.
Yeah, you drive me nuts. Bloomfield Hills, that was our opening game last year, and I mean, shoot, we had the ball inside their red zone probably 6 times and came out with 13 points, and that game just pisses me off. I wake up in a cold sweat to this day about that game. And then Ferndale, we, battled, and they returned a kick late in the game. We lost that game. So I'm really happy, Sammy, that you brought those 2 games up. I was having a good morning until then, so I appreciate that.
I apologize for doing it.
No, it's all right. It's all right. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You're the man. You're the man. So we're looking to play those teams again this year, and I'm not saying revenge, but we're looking to just kind of
motivation,
hopefully erase those bad tastes in our mouths from last year, because those 2 games really pissed me off last year. Great teams. Both Ferndale and Bloomfield Hills do an outstanding job. But we, those 2 games really bother me from last year.
Then he closed out the year with Avondale. Of course, we know Avondale, very athletic team. What is your initial thoughts on playing Avondale to close out the year instead of Troy?
Yeah, I think it's good. Avondale's a good team. I know their coach over there very well.
Corey Bell.
Yep, good guy. He does a nice job. Avondale has a lot of athletes. They got a lot of nice players. We'll have our hands full. We got to come ready to play, but that'll be a good game to end the season for us.
Final thoughts before I let you go, Coach Keenist. When you look at your team this year, I mean, coming in the year, you're looking at the schedule, and I'm looking at, I think this team could be a playoff team this year. I mean, have you talked about? I know you haven't talked playoffs or postseason expectations, but what is your initial goals heading into 2021?
Win our first game.
Mm-hmm.
That's our. I had a buddy of mine who coached with us for a couple of years, and one of his things that always sticks with me is you got to win your first game.
Mm-hmm.
He said you win, and I think that really hurt us last year. Losing that first game last year really hurt us. I think we got to come out of the gate fast. I think if we win our first game, it's at home. I think the kids need that confidence. And then if we can get on a little bit of a roll, we can get confidence. Our kids are working very, very hard. They want to see some fruits of their labor. So I think if we can win our first couple games, get on a little bit of a roll, have some momentum, I think we can be all right. But it's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of commitment. But I like where we're at. And I'm ready to get going. I'm sick and tired of 7-on-7s. I'm sick and tired of doing agilities and lifting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I want to put pads on, and I want to get after it. So, to answer your question, we have a tough schedule. The Blues a great division. We got to come ready to play. But I like our senior group, and I like our kids, and I like our coaching staff. So I think we'll be okay.
Thank you. I'm Troy Athens coach Billy Keenist. Thank you for your time here on the podcast.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, you guys. Yep.
Have a good season.
Have
good luck.
Good luck.
Thanks. See you guys.
Yep. That was.
What can you say?
Yeah.
I mean, good info.
Mm-hmm.
You had to rub it in.
Well, yeah. I had to bring up. You know what I mean? You're known for your disasters.
I know.
But he had some good wins last year. You know what I mean?
They did. And it's funny, and I love the back and forth between you guys because and all the coaches, because they know you're going to bring it.
Mm-hmm.
You're not afraid to ask that question, which is good. You're fearless in that area. That's awesome.
Yes.
I said, but they are our guests. We're welcoming them in.
Hey, I'm trying to be positive here,
Yeah. No, but you you can tell he's a serious dude.
Yes.
Right? Intense, and
competitive.
Oh, completely. And I should have brought up, I said my brother-in-law played at Adrian and was an assistant coach there for a number of years. So
Really?
I should have brought it up, see if he knew my brother-in-law. Anyway, but he's an intense guy.
Yes.
And he gets those kids going.
Mm-hmm.
And he is the quintessential football coach, just listening to him talk and
proven winner too.
Yeah, and the way you can see that he's a motivator.
Yes,
and his voice carries weight. And
I'm telling you, I'm excited for this.
Yes.
I like this team. Here's
so do
why. I mean, Troy Athens, yes, they got experience, but when you look at the Red Hawks, I mean, like that schedule looks favorable. I mean, they have
and their first game is which?
Pontiac. They play Pontiac the first game. Now Pontiac's an improved. They're getting better. You know what I mean? I saw them 7-on-7. They're better than what you think. You know what I mean? I mean, like Coach Ken Wade has done a really nice job with them early on. I mean, like, but that's not going to be. I don't think this is going to be your typical Pontiac team that with Wade in that program. I just don't. I think it's going to be, but.
And Coach Keenist knows this.
Yes, and I know he knows this.
Yeah, and they're not going to go into the game, Pontiac looking beyond.
Yeah,
you can't.
I know, you can't. I mean, like, and, you gotta say this. You gotta forget the record that Pontiac's had the last 10 years. You gotta forget that. This is a different Pontiac team that Troy Athens is going to see.
Yeah.
So when you really look at, if you're Coach Keenist, you got to say, hey, if you think this is easy, you're kidding yourself.
Yeah.
And
of all the coaches we've chatted with, I know all of them do this. But just talking to Coach Keenist this morning, his kids will absolutely not be overlooking.
They better not be under.
They won't.
And I know the last 3 years, and we talked about their domination of Troy. I mean, like 103-0 the last 3 years.
Yeah, that was that is an insane number. Not a typo. It is real.
It is real.
It's a thing.
231-0 wins and a 42-0.
And like he's saying, and he's right. When you have those rivalries with your classmates,
correction, 104-0.
Yes, with your classmates, former neighbors, friends. I mean, you know how those district lines go. It's right down the street. It could be your neighbor across the road you're going against.
And I know Troy calls Troy Athens that's that school down the road.
Any way to keep the energy level of a rivalry going. It's awesome. I love rivalry games. I know you do too.
They need a trophy in that area.
See, I knew you were going to bring that up again.
They
Hardware.
Need hardware.
Yeah, but some rivalries just don't have that sort of thing.
I mean, you look at the Double O trophy. You got the Orion Clarkson trophy. You got the Woodward curb.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Soon to be retired.
Soon to be retired.
I like the idea
of Woodward.
I like the idea of the sign. I think that's awesome.
Catalpa and Lexington.
Yes,
yeah,
I really like that.
I really do
like
too.
That.
You know what I mean? I really do too.
If you put years on it, you color a stripe for which team won, and on the I think that'd be awesome.
I think that'd be great. I mean, like, and then and you have the little brown jug between Troy and Avondale. That's an interesting trophy.
Yeah.
But Troy Athens, to me, I think they're more than capable of having a really good year. I think they could be a playoff team this year. That's how high I am with this team. Now, I know that...
Well, having a returning quarterback, right?
Well, no, he's converting from
converting
to a quarterback. Evan
See,
Beaver, that's going to be interesting.
That's the tough part. I mean, the X factors of, high school football breaks down. We've talked about this a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
It breaks down into a couple positions.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a capable quarterback,
right,
you have a serviceable offensive line to protect that quarterback.
Solid running back.
Running back and a receiver. That that team can find success.
Especially in this division.
Yes.
I mean, you look at this division, you know what I mean? You're not going up against the likes of Lake Orion, West Bloomfield, Oxford.
But the play of your
Clarkston.
quarterback is so key in that offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen great receiving cores, great running backs, but if you don't have that O-line,
you're in trouble.
And a quarterback that is improving every week, that can take that team on his shoulders, you are in trouble.
Yeah, and I think when you look at Troy Athens, there's a lot of
we have to see how their quarterback rounds out.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the key. I mean, when you look at the Red Hawks, I mean, like, obviously this is a team where I think they could surprise some folks. I mean, like,
so what wins do you see? I mean, if after the conversation with Coach, what would you see as the W's?
I really like
because
them.
we got to remind everybody, not everybody gets into the playoffs again.
No.
We're back to the playoff points structure.
We're back to the I mean, like, you look at your strength of schedule, obviously, and that's the difference. You know what I mean? It's not like the automatic 6. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when I look at the schedule, I mean, obviously, you know, they've got their. I'm just curious to see who they're going to play their Week 8 game, because they only have 8 right now. So when you look at, and last year they only played, but again, everybody played. Last year can't count that. But for me, I think it's important for Troy Athens to find a night game, because when you look at, there are teams out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And especially at this format where you're going to have to play.
Well, who on their schedule is that type of team that if you beat them, it'll give you that
can change
boost?
your season.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you.
Is there anybody on that schedule?
There is a couple of teams. I think if they can knock off Ferndale, knock off Berkeley, Bloomfield Hills are probably the 3 teams.
Well, Bloomfield, yeah.
Bloomfield Hills, they're replacing a lot. I mean, they did lose they did lose Ty Soslinski. He graduated.
Okay.
Ferndale, we know how athletic they are. They are very athletic. And then I think the team that, if you're Troy Athens, the team you really want to beat is Berkeley. Because...
Do you think that's the linchpin?
I think Berkeley is the
that
linchpin.
they must win, or is that...
I think the Ferndale game's a must win.
Okay.
But I think the linchpin, if you want to prove that you arrive, you got to go to Hurley and win there. Because when I look at that game with Berkeley, and also I forgot to mention Farmington. You know what I mean? Farmington's the team that moved down from the red to the white.
That's right.
I forgot to mention that to Coach Keenist today. I was a little bummed about that. But I think if they can win the Farmington game and they can win the Berkeley game, those are the 2 games I think they can win. Those are the 2 games that say, you know what? This team is right.
So you earn those victories.
Yep.
And then you beat the teams you should beat.
Mm-hmm.
What are the teams that they should beat?
They should beat.
Should they beat Pontiac?
Yes, they should beat them.
Okay. Who's next?
They should beat. I mean, like, they should beat. He's right about the schedule, but
it's tough.
It is tough.
You know, and saying right. I mean, he's right. It's a tough
the
schedule.
Blue is tougher than you think it is. I mean, like,
just like you said.
Just like I said. You know what I mean? The Blue is a lot tougher. I mean, obviously Farmington coming down. Then you have Berkeley there. You have Avondale. You have Royal Oak, to me, you should beat.
Okay. But if it's a 5-win team and they might be, you saying that, hey, you see them potentially as a playoff team.
They could win 5 games. You know, I think they could win 5.
Do you think they could get in with 4, but with a big upset over, let's say, Berkeley, or I would say upset,
Farmington?
Or
Farmington probably would be the biggest one. I think if they would knock off in that game, if they can knock off Farmington, considering that they do have Farmington plays North Farmington to start the year week 1. That's the team that I think, if Troy Athens can win that game at Farmington, you basically got my mind all right.
But that's the thing.
But
it's like,
I think the game at Farmington.
But right, I mean that goes back to the parity in the Blue.
Mm-hmm.
Right, there's a lot of decent teams.
Right.
You're saying the Pontiac is going to be better.
I think Pontiac's
you got to watch
better.
out. Everybody else. I mean, they're all known commodities.
Right, they're all known commodities.
Right, and for like Coach is saying, it's like they got a tough schedule.
Yeah.
And there's no gimmies. And and then you're looking at an open Week 8 opponent.
Week 8 opponent, yeah.
Are you going to go Cupcakeville if you can, or are you just going to say we'll play anybody? I mean, you're not going to say, "Hey, Grand Blanc, let's do a Week 8."
If you go cupcake, Ian, that's going to hurt you.
Yes, I know.
If you play a tough opponent.
Unless you have that.
Unless you play a very good opponent. You know what I mean? So if you're Coach Billy, if you're Coach Keenist, or if you're Athletic Director Bob Dowd, Oh,
your favorite fella.
Yeah. You're going to have to play a tough type of stretch. You're going to play a tough game.
Yes.
If I'm them, to get them tested, why not play a tough game? Play a tough game.
Would they need? They may need. They may need that game
just to make the playoffs.
Yes.
They may need it.
Win or lose.
Because if you don't play that game, you're right behind the 8 ball. You're right behind the 8 ball.
Are there any other teams that are still looking for that 8?
I know Oak Park's looking for a week 9. I know that
a week 9.
Yeah, they are looking for a week 9.
Is everybody playing 9? Did I miss something?
The Oak Park was the only one that I know that's looking for.
They got a bye in there somewhere, like a week off.
No, well,
9 games.
They're Coach Greg Carter's gonna find a week 9. It's gonna be a brutal opponent. But because I know how brutal schedule he has every year. They open up with Orchard. Their first 5 weeks are brutal.
Yeah.
My goodness. But if I'm Athens, I'm definitely looking at possibly playing a maybe like playing a team like that is you're familiar with, or maybe even go down to like Lenawee County, like Adrian area, you know what I mean? Show your kids Adrian College, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe go down there and play them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
but it's interesting. And he's right. What did he say? I'm sick of 7-on-7s. I'm sick of, right? You can tell they're chomping at the bit. They're ready to go. And to say, hey, we're ready for the games, doesn't that give you kind of a good
It gives you a beat, you know what I mean?
Well, it gives me a good sense that maybe he's saying something. He's seeing things that is getting him ready to go to the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
They're ready.
And I think they're ready. I think they're hungry. They're ready to go. I'm curious to see what happens with this team. Really, really curious to see what happens. Final thoughts this week. Let's see what happens. Everybody stay safe.
Absolutely. Watch out, man.
Stay healthy.
I get my second shot on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still wearing that mask, though, brother.
Yep. Mask up, everybody. Stay safe. Stay positive.
Yep.
Mask up, stay safe, stay positive.
Absolutely. I dig it.
Yep. See you all next week, everybody.
See you, Sammy. OAA Now is produced by Sammy Taormina. The views on this show are his and mine alone. I want to thank Coach Keenist for coming in the podcast today. If you would like to make your own podcast here at Orion Neighborhood Television, give us a call at 248-393-1060. We're enrolling one-on-one classes for just $25. Are you kidding me? Give us a call, 248-393-1060. That's it for this edition of OAA Now. We'll see you next week. See ya!